So, now that I'm done being frigid and unwelcoming.
You were only lukewarm.
Sure. How about an icebreaker? To get to know each other better.
Sounds fun. What have you got?
Simple. If you were a wild animal, what would you be?
Ooh, I think I'd be in a color.
Why is that?
Aggressive, but they hunt in packs with close bonds. I love adventuring, but a kick-ass team is what makes it meaningful.
Huh. I like that.
And yourself? What?
An Eastern Reef Crake.
A crake? Somehow I pictured fewer tentacles and destroyed ships in your wake.
You're thinking of the big ones. An Eastern Reef Crake is pretty small and harmless. But all crakes are misunderstood. They are incredibly intelligent creatures. And they diligently protect their eggs. They actually only attack when their nest is under threat. So yeah, I'd be a crake. Happily living underwater. Normally, when you crack jokes in the face of dire circumstances, hives start breaking out on my skin.
Okay.
But when it comes to the masked Hearthsider, you might have a point. We are disassembling their enchantments left and right. And in the case of their arcs, dismembering.
Besides, who wouldn't quake in their boots at the sight of me? I am about as strapping as they come.
And here come the hives.
So, how often do I need to return to camp? Do you need me to report back frequently?
That's entirely up to you. Points privilege. You're the one taking the risks, so you can gauge how far and how long you can push. From time to time, I or the folks around the camp might have requests, but we'll defer to your priorities. And if you get into trouble, I'll pull you to safety. Might lose some resources, but that's a small price to pay.
Got it. A lot of responsibility.
Points privilege.
Can I ask how you knew to pack up the camp outside the Vale?
The tangles were shifting. They'd been static the entire time. And then, suddenly, just as an arc deflects a wave of Drake's breath, they start to move. That's no coincidence.
How do you know to run to me, then?
The tangles closed down the path the caravan took in, and it wasn't like I was going to abandon you.
I believe I was promised one epic tale on how you discovered the route into the Vale.
I suppose I did promise you. Rumors of a safe passage into the shadow had been swirling among Weaver circles for the last 5 years. They'd always piqued my interest, but I couldn't get a solid lead on it until 2 years ago. Weavers in a caravan bound for Don Brennig told me they no longer had a point. They'd lost an older Casil fellow who journeyed on the Strand Road before the surge. He insisted on one last big expedition before his... It killed him, but they got pretty close.
So you got the route from that caravan?
Not quite. The point that died was the one who led them in. He had the trade roads memorized. But it was confirmation that getting close to the Vale was possible. Eventually, I was able to trade an Ash Peak Drake's Tooth for a map of the trade roads with a dubious Ashar woman in Tarza.
A Drake's Tooth?
Some people believe grinding the tooth of a drake into a powder and consuming it could have Stimulating.
Ah,
Fools. Regardless, between the map and the other leads, I was able to plan the route that led us to the Vale's shadow a fortnight ago. The final missing piece was an apprentice point to take on the expedition with me.
glad I could help. Thanks for sharing, Aurea.
What's a good adventure if you can't regale someone with the tale later?
I hope I'm not prying by bringing this up, but Dharm and Aurea told me about your last battle.
Oh,
It sounds like it was pretty rough.
it wasn't great, that's for sure. I mean, I gave up everything I knew to become a weaver. And it only took a couple of weeks for me to realize I had chased the wrong caravan out of town. All that band did was drink and fight. I stuck around, thinking I might be able. Aaron chose someone else to take his place in the end.
You're in better hands now. I promise. Even though I'm sure your last few days with us, do you have any regrets about leaving?
I'm not one for getting lost in the past. I prefer to keep my eyes on what's in front of me. So, no.
Glad to hear you're moving on. But, you know, sometimes it takes us a little while to process our experience. If you ever do need to dwell on the past, just know I'm here to listen.
Thanks, Sola.
Here to brief.
I like to know everything I can before venturing off to a new place.
Just beyond the forested hills of Glintwood Hollow lies the wetlands known as Dredger's Mire. Much like the Hollow, the Enclave prospected many of the raw materials needed for its ambitious constructs and projects from the mire. Oh, it's no coincidence you found the Ark of the Stricken Earth near a collapsed mine. Likely, it was used for the excavation of minerals and metals before the surge. I believe the natural surroundings of the mire were also rich in resources. The Enclave even settled a small village there known as Poldervale.
Which is where I might find that masked figure that was watching me.
It's possible. Regardless, do you have any questions before you...
What can you tell me about Poldervale? It seems like it was settled pretty far from their capital.
Indeed. Though, when you take instantaneous travel through loom gates into account, the village was likely settled to facilitate the prospecting of raw materials, and the resources farmed here could easily be transported across the
Apart from the village, it sounds like this is mostly untamed lands. Any expectation that it will be more dangerous?
I would expect so, yes. We've made camp in a way station that's pretty far from Denevron, and the mire yet even more remote. Everything I've read says the deeper into the outskirts of the Enclave one ventures, the more wild...
You're saying my battle with the Great Ark might be looking like child's play soon?
Possibly?
Some of the others didn't seem so sure we should be trying to track down the masked figure. What do you think?
History demands we find them. If the masked figure truly is a Hearthsider, their stories and what they've lived through in here would be invaluable to our understanding of the Enclave and of the Surge.
Sounds like I'd better find them then. Some of the others didn't seem so sure we should be trying to track down the masked figure. What do you think?
history demands we find them. If the masked figure truly is a Hearthsider, their stories and what they've lived through in here would be invaluable to our understanding of the Enclave and of the Surge.
Sounds like I'd better find them then. Thanks for the info, Lane. I think I'm ready to head out.
My pleasure. Oh, wait, I almost forgot. I didn't have the biggest role to play in the Loom Gate's repair. I'm not exactly handy with a hammer. But watching the band work gave me an idea for a new alchemical project. Its working name is a Loom Shard.
A Loom Shard?
Yes, it's a shard that could draw magic from a Loom Gate and bring you back to camp safely, wherever you are.
How is this different from Aurea putting me back with the scry?
Unaided, Aurea can only summon enough magic to bring you back safely, not all the valuables you might have collected. Because this shard draws magic from the tapestry, it can bring you back safely with all you've gathered.
Thanks, Lane.
Hopefully Aurea's wing recovers soon.
Ready?
Let's do this.
First trip through the Loom Gate is a success.
Hopefully more trips to come, to new and exciting places.
Sodden Pass. A fitting name for the road to the wetlands.
According to the maps, you're getting close to Dredge's Mire.
Looks like it was being packed up to ship.
It'll be exciting to work off an Enclave design firsthand.
I know you're excited to explore, but first things first. Use our key swatch with a loom gate in the mire, so that it's easy to return.
Right. I'll check the maps.
Perfect. I can see the connection. We'll be able to come back whenever we'd like.
Without having to trek through all the mud.
The beauty of instantaneous travel. Key swatches are an ingenious system for connecting loom gates together.
This is colder now, but what happened? The village is completely frozen.
This can't be natural.
I think it's safe to say no one lives here. Where else could I look for a hearth cider?
I can't quite remember why, but something tells me you should search for a watchtower. The maps indicate there may be some nearby.
Doubt security would be active if the village was vacated.
Just trust me on this. I've got some cross-referencing to do.
All right, Bryn. You heard them.
Watchtower. Got it. Just like home. You're round a corner and a glacier's right there to greet you. There's a watchtower ahead.
Found the term I was looking for. It mentioned that key swatches were held by security in the Enclave's more remote villages. That ensured that loom gates could be reconnected to more central locations if needed. Perhaps our hard cider won't be in the watchtower, but a key swatch to Denevran could be.
Genius, Lane. Nice work.
Another Drake.
This one doesn't seem as aggressive. Must not be rutting.
Should leave you alone unless you get close.
do with a little heat.
According to this logbook, all the key swatches were removed from the Poldervale Watch a few years after the surge.
Strange.
But there was one key swatch that was borrowed and never returned by the mayor at his residence in Poldervale.
Perhaps it's still there.
It'll be tough for me to withstand the cold long enough to search for it.
The rest of the band could help you navigate that. Try discussing the challenge with a few of them next time you're at camp.
Got the key swatch. And unfettered access to the Enclave's capital.
Amazing, Bryn.
Denebron awaits.
Impressive, Bryn. We're on our way to Denevron.
Everyone helped. I just did my part.
In a well-run band, everything takes teamwork, that's for sure. But don't downplay your role in this. Since you've been crisis promoted to point, we've felled a great arc, restored a construct, and now we've got access to the Enclave's capital. Not everyone could accomplish what you have, let alone in our current circumstances. In fact, most would crumble under the pressure.
Don't get me wrong, I know I'm doing good here. But honestly, having just left a band that fought and backstabbed one another, I really appreciate the level of teamwork that went into this. The others are lifting me up, and I don't take that for granted.
That's good to hear. I know they're as impressed with you as I am.
Thanks, Aurea.
Now, enough talk. You've got a city to explore.